Good morning. The air's getting a bit clearer outside. It rained, and we had some lightning, so I was up a little late last night. But today's a good day, so I went and I read Ezekiel chapter 19, and it's got this, I think it's a parable, talking about, he says here, offer a lamentation for the princes of Israel. So he's talking about the kings, the leaders of Israel. And he talks about how Israel was raised up among lions, and the mom nourished her whelps among young lions. And so it goes on the story about the baby among the lions, and all the nations put the baby in a pit with chains, and it says the land of Egypt. Now that has to be Israel because Israel had to be delivered from Egypt. They took Joseph and Jacob's family to Egypt, and they lived there for a long time. And the Hebrews grew up there. All 12 tribes did. They all share this history. And then it says she raised up one of the other lions to deliver them. So that would be like Moses. How they got delivered out of Egypt, and then they kind of grew and excuse me, they grew and became the nation of Israel, and they're delivered. But then it switches the parable and talks about the vine, which is something that was, another symbol for the kingdom. And it says that the vine, which was planted by the waters and was fruitful and full of branches by reason of many waters, it had strong rods for scepters. So it had strong leaders that were good for kings. And then it got plucked and placed somewhere else in the wilderness, and the dry east winds are coming to dry it up, and there's no more vines that are good for a scepter. There's no more good rulers in Israel. And it's kind of this metaphorical history of Judah up to this point. And I didn't realize until I read in the commentaries that this was, the lion and the vine were used back in the time of Jacob. And that's when it kind of clicked for me what they're talking about here, and how God is the mother, and God was doing this the whole time. God plucked the vine. God raised the lion to deliver them. God is the provider the whole time, the mom, the loving, caring mom. And the nation of Israel turned their back on the mom, basically. And that's how I feel about us today. God puts us in certain places to do things, deliver a people or a message or something, and then we ignore it, or we get put in chains. And when we're not good, we're not suitable for leadership, he takes us away. So we need to feed that vine. We need to feed it with water from the Word, water from the Spirit. I think the waters are important in here. And without them, we wither and we die, and we're not useful. So I think that's the application. I was thinking of that on the way, like, what's the application on my way upstairs? That's the application. It's just searching for the waters of life. And those only come from God. So we need to keep that